I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Life Together Video Podcast, a podcast where we will be discussing topics as varied as life itself. Life is messy. Life is beautiful. Let's talk about it. I am super psyched today. I am, though, because I am sitting here with my good friend and business partner, David Whitaker.
I'm just a man.
Yes, however, Superman. I'm just kidding. But seriously, folks, he is. Anyway, so David is in town from LA. David and I co-wrote and co-directed Friggin Aliens, a film that if you haven't heard about yet, you are just not paying attention. Yeah, and you're not one of the cool kids.
Yeah, either or. I would lean towards not being cool. Since we are a small film, I'll give you some leeway if you haven't heard about it. But if you have and, you kind of just forgot, then you're definitely not cool.
Agreed.
You're not. You're just not.
Absolutely. But that's okay because we are going to remedy this problem for you right here on the Life Together Video Podcast. We are going to talk a little bit about Friggin Aliens, kind of how that happened. We'll have a link to the trailer, and we're going to drop a little kind of exciting footage on you that nobody has seen other than us and our editors.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to share it because it's kind of cool and sets a nice tone. And we want to get you guys excited. We're planning on doing a premiere in January for this film. But enough about that. Let's talk about this movie. What is your recollection of how this started? We were out
7 years ago. That recollection.
God, has it been that long since we started writing?
It seems like
2010, right?
We definitely started writing it in 2010. I think the concept for it, I don't know when that came about. I feel like that was maybe like the general idea came about even earlier, and then we combined it because we had another script with these characters for a while.
It was
slightly different.
It was the character names were the same, and they were played by you and I originally, and it was in a friend of ours student film.
Yes,
we liked the characters, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so one night we were walking with a bunch of other students at the Los Angeles Film Studies Center, and a little link up there. Maybe they'll give us money. And I don't even remember which one of us it was, but somebody said something about doing a sci-fi bromance.
Yeah, it was a sci-fi bromance. That's how it got started. I forgot about that. It was a sci-fi bromance, and because Eric and I, we seem to fit the sci-fi bromance. Well, there's no such thing as a sci-fi bromance, but people kind of inferred that upon our relationship. We both like sci-fi, and we have a bromance, and so I think someone might have just suggested sci-fi bromance. And
it's very possible.
It went from there.
That's a great idea. Let's write what we know.
What would we do if aliens invaded Earth? Probably something like this.
So what I think originally when we started talking, I remember walking. I think we were getting frozen yogurt or something, but we were walking with a group of people, brainstorming about it. And at the time, and I still would like to do this with a project at one point, but we were like, we got to have a role for Doug Jones in there. Doug Jones is just an absolutely fantastic guy, super talented. And we've always wanted to try to get him into a project. It's just the right one hasn't presented itself yet. Plus, we've done most of our stuff here in Kentucky, which is an issue. But at any rate, so sci-fi bromance, Doug Jones.
It went from there.
And it went from there. Yeah, we started outlining and came back and actually we were looking to do a feature film, but we weren't even looking at that script initially. We were looking at we had like a more of a dramatic vampire film we were talking about doing, Angela, which is brilliant, but it was going to cost way too much money to try to do it because some of it was period and et cetera, et cetera. So we were like, what can we do, to get our kind of get our foot in the door, so to speak, or to get the ball rolling. Pick a metaphor, and so we came back to that script, and of course it needed some work because we'd only made one full pass at it.
Yep.
And from there we were like, this is really cool. And then you suggested shooting it as a documentary, so that we could shoot it pretty fast and pretty dirty, so it would have a documentary feel and very indie kind of feel to it, and that's how we could keep the cost. One of the ways we could keep the cost and the time way down. And
that seemed to work really well. I think we were the first. There's been one other production that I know of recently that's shot a feature film in about 7 days too. I think they did it. They did it pretty quick too. But they were all in one location. And, and it was kind of set up. It was set up similar to the film was very organically a mockumentary. It lent itself to that. I think it has something to do with reality television. I'm sorry if you know what I'm talking about and you know who you are. I apologize that I don't know about your film. You probably won't watch this though, so I'm not too worried.
Well, here, let me add insult to injury. I don't know what the heck he's talking about.
But anyway, we were the first to do it, that to my knowledge. We were the first to actually try this feat and knock out... How long did it take? 10 days? 14?
We did 90 pages in 10 days.
Yeah, it was immense. And we would set up, I think the way the mockumentary lent itself to being so helpful was we would have Lee, our DP, set up the lights once, and they would be as organic as possible, and by that I mean in motivated lighting. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, they the lights were supposed to look as if they were really in the room, and most of the time they were, and they're a part of the set, and then we just go. And so if you're not changing for lighting or setups or anything, every 2 shots you're just flying. You're flying like crazy.
I think it worried us after the first couple days of shooting.
Yeah.
Because I remember day one we were shooting in downtown Versailles, and we were just cranking stuff out. And at one point I said to our AD Jen Silver, I said, "So what's next?" She goes, "Lunch." I'm like, "What time is it?" It's like, "It's 10:30. Like, what do we have after lunch?
I forgot about that.
Dude, we shot everything. I'm like, what? How do we do it? And it was kind of weird because most of the time on a film set, you're sprinting to make your day, to get all your shots done. And I think all but one day we wrapped ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, there was one day. I remember the one day that I was actually there for the full day. That we were behind pretty far at one point.
Was it the fight day?
It was the fight day, which lends itself to being long because fights are complicated, and you want to account for safety to the best of your ability. And
right, we didn't lose anybody, so that's good.
I don't even think we got a real injury the whole time, even on crew, which is pretty amazing. Yeah,
I think we had some bruises just from people falling, and
but they were told not to fall that way.
She
knows who she is.
We won't mention any names. You know who you are.
I know who you are
for sure. But it was such the whole process was just super fun and energetic. My only complaint about it was that you didn't get to be there for the entire
that was a bummer.
Entirety of the shoot. You were there for about half of it, and then you had to go back to LA because work and whatever. And so kind of the way we split it up was David did direct all of the stuff, and most of the action sequences, because he's really good at that. And then I tried to direct. Like I said, I tried to direct the rest of it.
I wasn't there
after he left. So I guess it was good. I don't know.
It turned out okay on the film.
So it's tricky. It's tricky doing kind of being a principal role, and it's hard to direct yourself.
It is. It's hard to keep your head on straight when you're trying to do a lot of roles too, because you're producing and directing and acting, and that was. I remember you had a couple people take on a couple responsibilities for you so that you could focus a little bit more. 'Cause that's hard. There's only one person who's ever really done it well to my...
Tommy Wiseau.
Is
that what you were going to say? I was kidding. I was trying to be funny, but that's where you were going. Oh my gosh. Tommy Wiseau, The Room. Go see it.
It's or not. You could live your life happier probably if you can't stand that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you can just get on the internet and look up like
Yeah.
montages and stuff and just see what a rough film it
I don't know if
was.
rough is even like that's such an understatement for that film. It's
Horrible train wreck.
it's like a train wreck, but it's the kind of train wreck that turns into something beautiful, if that's possible. That's terrible. I don't think train wrecks have ever turned into something beautiful, but
It's really weird.
it's
really weird.
it's insane.
Well, now originally, so one of the things that we did learn was the directing and acting thing wasn't as hard as the producing stuff.
The producing is the hardest part.
That was what made it difficult. We did have another producer on set, and that helped. But I think if we do it when we do another project where we're filling those roles, when we're on set, we'll have somebody doing 100% of all the producer stuff, so we're not handling any of that. But originally, we weren't going to direct. We were just going to we wrote and we were going to produce, and then do some acting. And then our director fell through there just do some stuff that he wasn't able to do that. So we're like, well, we know the material, we know this movie, so, and we know the characters, so I think we could probably do a knock-up job, and we did. I think we did a really good job.
Pretty good job.
But
We should just do this is better. This is
because we're both here, we can pat each other on the back.
Yeah.
That's right. We don't have to give ourselves a pat on the back. Pat each other, but so what is tell me about something that stood out to you, like a memory of the process. First, give me a good one, like that was I would live that day over and over again if I could, and then we'll go to bad ones. I don't know if there are any.
A good one for sure was definitely getting the initial one of the big fight sequences we had that wasn't the ones that weren't shot on a GoPro. That one, and actually piecing that together, actually having everybody get it by the end of the day, that was really cool. Just seeing that come together, because that was crazy. I know we'd written a lot of it out beforehand, and whenever I write action sequences, and I think I wrote that one, is that I really write out like every single action almost to an obsessive
Eric
level.
bends his arm at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah,
extending a sword.
It's pretty bad. But it was already pretty planned out, but it's still getting people to do that the first time was really hard, and getting them to do it in the right sequence and not make it look fake and getting the right angles, really tricky. But at the end, when we'd finally finished, I was like, oh, what? It's just a movie. It's a movie. We've made a movie, and we've done an action sequence, and it actually looks okay. And
it does, yeah.
Like, we couldn't really tell that at the time because it was, we couldn't watch all the footage back that day. We'd be watching there for the whole couple hours. But it looked great from what I could tell, and that was really, really happy. Really, really happy time.
That was cool. During the fight sequence, one of my moments came in that, because your direction to one of our actors was you're gonna run into the room, and it was actually the GoPro fight scene. It wasn't the one you were just talking
that's
about.
one I have. That's my bad one. Actually.
That was tough. Okay, well you want to tell that, and I'll tell you why it was rough.
Sure. Yeah. There was a number of reasons why the GoPro one was tough. First of all, no one's ever done. This is actually, I think, a film first. If this happens, if we finish and keep it the way it is, like, unless barring any unforeseen circumstances in post-production, we would be the first to have shot an entire action sequence on a feature film and GoPro and have them be a part of like the actual script.
Innovators.
Yes, innovators. No, we're sort of.
Suck it, Lucas. Just kidding. I love you. I'm totally kidding. You shouldn't have said that.
You shouldn't have said that.
I was kidding. It was a joke.
But he can hear everything. But yeah, the GoPros were really tricky for a number of reasons. One reason was that we kind of expected, but turned out to be even harder than we thought, is that GoPros, for those of you who don't know, have a very, very wide angle lens, which means everything is visible unless you push the digital zoom and cut and basically crop the picture. But we didn't want to do that very much, because you crop the picture, you lose quality, and it doesn't look as good. And so we tried to do that as little as possible. Ultimately, we had to make a couple sacrifices, I think, in there, but it turned out to be not as bad as we thought it would be. But every single time we would like turn, like there would be some sound guy, like at the beginning, because you couldn't see it. And this was the big part of the problem, is that the equipment didn't work to watch it on your iPad as it was happening live. We originally tried to do that. It worked for like half a second, and it just stopped. And we had no idea, so we had to watch everything after we shot it to make sure it looked okay. Like the first 3 takes, we had to actually try to have the sound guys in there with it. Terrible. Did not work at all. And I think I said after about the third one, we're done. No, we're not doing sound anymore. We're going to do all of this ADR, and that's what we're going to do. And because I was just so frustrated, because I knew it wasn't going to happen with the lenses being the way they were, and even with just the action. Because you can't have a sound guy. The sound guy has to be completely behind the person who's wearing the GoPro, and there's nowhere else in the room they can be. Because it's all first person, and the person's turning their head, and you see the entire room, and the only way is to be right behind them. And it was just, there was a lot of other things that were bad about that, but that was really bad, and then it just...
Forgot about that.
Finally, we got it to the place where it looked okay, and we rolled with it from there. But at that point, I think I was so irritated with how bad it looked to begin with. I could hardly look at it as a good thing. Even when we'd finished that scene, I was just like so frustrated that it all looked black to me. But it wasn't. It was fine. It turned out okay.
It's dead to me. It's dead to me.
It was just that was a really, really rough 8 hours.
It did turn out all right. That was a rough day. Well, and it was because it was in that scene where one of our actors, your direction to him was, you're going to come in. I was like, you're going to kick Eric. He's, and then you're going to jump on top of him and you're going to strangle him. And then we're going to cut. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, all right. And I've done enough, like film and stage stuff that, with stage combat, when you're strangling somebody, like I strangled David, he grabs a hold of me and he makes it look like a struggle. I don't really choke him. And this dude like got his hands on my neck and was strangling me.
Oh no.
For real. And the sad thing was because the GoPro was on me, you can never even see that it would have been like a brilliant performance because it was all real. But I remember saying to you after, I thought maybe he just got excited, so we'll give him another one when I like him. After take 2, I think I said to you, I said, hey, listen, I don't want to be a jerk, but can you please tell him to stop actually choking me? I might die in this scene.
I think I even said to him, like, don't actually choke him, obviously, or something like that, and like just assuming that he would know better. But I guess he didn't really.
Maybe he didn't like me and just didn't say anything because he was too nice.
I don't know. That was a very strange experience. Of course, sometimes I think people get in there to play the devil's advocate. Maybe he was just because it was a rush. He got in there very late that day, as I recall.
Yeah, and I think he had a deadline, too, that he had to be out of.
Yeah, and there was a lot of adrenaline pumping, so maybe he just got overexcited or something and was just really getting into the role. But it was... Yeah, that was
crazy.
That was crazy.
Oh, my gosh. But
you're not dead.
No, which is awesome.
Didn't even pass out.
Not even a little bit.
Baby.
It was going on. I was just... Well, in the moment, you're worried.
No.
You're like, so this is what it feels like right before you die. So it was great, and we had some wonderful people that kind of pitched in, and Cherokee Hall, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago, fantastic guy. Like we were talking about how he loaned us his house, and we fogged the crap out of his garage.
Yeah.
He went to open the door to go and get into his car, and just smoke rolled out of it, and we used his basement for 2 different locations, and I'm so happy with how that turned out because you can't even tell it's the same. It's the same place.
Right.
But so it was cool how a lot of people came together and now we did something with this film as far as we did 2 things. One of them was maybe it's not unique. We called it something unique. And then we also did crowdfunding to raise the money for the project. And we shot the film for, what did we do, like under $5,000? Like right around 5? Is that what it was?
Yep. You'd have to. No, I don't really remember.
Hold on, but something like
that.
that.
It's been a while.
But we used crowdfunding. It was the first time we'd used crowdfunding for something like that, for sure. Well, the first time I had ever used it at all. And I think we were just shy of maybe a few $100s shy of our full goal. But I viewed it as a success. We were able to network with people, and it's cool. So we can talk about that a little bit too. But we also did something we called it the Community Film Initiative. And because we were working with such a small amount of money, we couldn't pay everybody to be there. So we gave them like a percentage in upfront, like ownership of the film. Different percentages based on their involvement. And then we did something really cool. I mean, I think everybody likes working with us, so that helps. But everybody was super motivated, super prepared, willing to go above and beyond. And we fed everybody, too, so that's important. Anyways, what did you think about it? Do you think that had anything to do with it, or is it just because we were really awesome?
I think it's a combination of our extreme, super over-the-top, incredible awesomeness.
Ooh, not understated.
No.
That was good. And no hyperbole. It was a good balance.
Absolutely. It was a combination of that exceeding excellence and the people we worked with. No, it was really mostly the people we worked with that even got this thing finished, to be honest. Eric and I, it would have been up a creek. Even if two of the people, any one of two people on the crew hadn't been living up to their end of the deal, it would have been a disaster. It was amazing. It was just seriously divine intervention about how every piece of the puzzle seemed to fit together in the right place at the right time, and everybody did what they were supposed to do when they needed to do it. And they even took it, like, even sometimes it was tough because we had to change things at the last minute, and to their credit, at least not to our faces, they didn't say anything bad about it, but it was hard. It's hard to adapt to that stuff, and everyone took it pretty well when things didn't go exactly according to plan. We had to change. They were like, okay, we'll change, and we'll do it here. But that was a really cool part about this whole thing, that people were willing to make those changes and make those adaptions so quickly.
Yeah, and with a great attitude, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
To us, they had a great attitude. So I think you can't say too much about that either, because I think if you're setting up, even when it gets crazy and you're changing stuff, if you as the director are setting a healthy and happy tone on set, and an expectation that we get work done, but we're going to love what we're doing, people like to come to work, and they're okay to shift on the fly with you as they need to, because they trust you and they love the process. That makes sense. So it pays to create an environment on set that's conducive to that. I would say.
Yep, it pays to have a fun atmosphere. It's not fun. If it's not fun even a little bit, you're gonna, no matter how much you're getting paid, you're not gonna really have a good time being there, and you're not gonna want to come to work. That's right. That can be said for so many of my friends, and then your friends. They'll go to a set. They'll be getting paid a lot of money to do some really high-end work, and they hate every minute of it because it's no fun.
Yep.
And that's tough.
It's tough. I worked on a film where I was paid pretty well to do what I was doing, and some of the producers were just tough guys to get along with, and very berating and belittling to the crew. Nobody ever belittles the cast. Like, when you've paid actors to come in and be part of a project, you treat them like kings and queens. But your crew, sometimes people take the idea that your crew is expendable, and they're really not. Like you just said, if any one or two people had dropped the ball for us on set, we would have been hard pressed to make it happen in that day. So you've got to treat people with respect, and let them know that what they're doing is appreciated. Let them know when they're doing a good job. Speak positive reinforcement into people's lives. Even though sometimes you have to go, hey, that's not going to work. We're going to need to do it like this. But that's not negative. That's just making a movie happen, So be a positive person. What little filmmaking tips from David and Eric? Don't be a jerk. People will make movies with you. And I think, and I think as a result, I know there's a handful of people here, and I'm sure you've got group out in LA, David and I could call any number, handful of people that would totally work with us again, even, as long as they had the time, even if it wasn't a paying gig, just because they're like, dude, we like what you guys do, and we have a good time doing it. Now, the ultimate goal is to have all your projects funded and paying them, but if we wanted to do a little pet project, there's 2 or 3 people I could call that would be here, give me a whole weekend, and I would do the same thing for them, as well. But
yeah, absolutely. That's how it tends to work in this place in the business. You do it same out in LA. You have those people who are there for you every time, even if it's not a project that doesn't do much. It's okay because you were there doing it together.
Right.
That's what really is a lot of fun. I think that's the most fun, the process.
Because I remember the night it was New Year's Eve, and actually it was after midnight, and we had gone to a party at a friend's house, at our DP's house actually. But I remember you were staying with me, and you came back, and you, me, and our set and props person, Kayla Racer, we were all sitting on the couch. Actually, we were kind of reclining because it's a big couch. We were just like chilling, And I remember you going, that was one of the best experiences of my life. And it really was. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but man, we had a blast doing it. I've got, other than almost dying, I'm way overstating it. It's such a positive, thing that we had, and thought we did good in we didn't get arrested, and everything about it was positive.
Yeah, and that's that's the value. Like I said, adapting to circumstances. Because originally we had planned this warehouse scene, situation for one of the locations and a couple other things, and you just have to adapt to what you have. But even when if you have good people around you who are willing to adapt, then it just makes it such a positive experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, check out the trailer. We're gonna throw a little link up here for you to watch it. I'll actually throw it up a couple times so you're sure not to miss it. Super fun. We're excited about this project. Friendship, true love, and aliens. Yes. Do you want to speak to the friendship part of that and how that thematically fits into the story?
Well, let me bring up my notes here. Webster's definition defines friendship. I'm not going to do that. But now, the friendship portion. What can I speak to that? How can I speak to that? The friendship portion of the film embodies a lot of the kind of what's the mindset we had? Friends, they kind of stick through the crazy stuff together.
Yeah, friends never give up on each other. Is how it was said. Yeah,
that was the quote, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of the whole thing. That friendship portion of the movie.
Kind of sums it up, and you got two people that are really total opposites of one another. Mm-hmm. Best friends and roommates, but they're so different. Alan is pretty put together and level-headed, but he's got his own little neuroses. And then Todd is just kind of loose cannon. They even describe him as that in the film. He's just kind of crazy and given the flights of fancy and and the whole thing. And
never really met anybody like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Dead air.
So, anyway. And then True Love, we explore that on a couple different romantic relationships in the film. And there's a great story here that we do have to talk about.
Do we? Okay.
Well, yeah, it's awesome because people will bring their female friends to come see it.
Okay,
so they have the same result.
We can talk about that.
But we've got one character that's in a relationship, but he's not really willing to commit. I mean, you've got another character who is kind of really shallow, as it would be, and he has to learn to see somebody for who they are as opposed to what they look like on the outside. Not that there was a bad-looking person on this film, save for me. Just kidding. I'm hot stuff. You want me, you know it. Beautiful. Thanks, man. But my favorite thing that it's your story. You tell it. What, like, something happened with you and one of our actresses. Now, most of us knew each other prior to going into this film, with a couple exceptions, but
yeah. Well, one of our actresses who played is Maggie. I always forget. Like, I feel like I hear the character names all the time, and sometimes I second guess myself. Still, it's amazing.
That's not right.
Maggie. She played Maggie, and we knew each other in college. We dated for a while in college, and then I moved off to LA, and she was staying back here to finish up school and do some other things, and we just, we broke up at the time. We just didn't think it was going to work, long distance and all this, and then we come back. I think actually no, Eric asks me at one point. We were talking about who to cast in the role of Maggie, and I don't know if you brought it up or I brought it up, but however it turned out, you're like, you think you'd be okay with Janelle playing Maggie, and I was like, yeah, totally. No, we're cool. It was because it'd been a while, and we were still friends, and it was fine, and I was like, yeah, no big deal, and
because we could pretty much put Janelle in anything, and she does amazing.
Yeah,
as an actress,
you can stick her in wherever, and she does awesome. And so I was like, yeah, we'll have a solid actress. It'll be great. And I didn't really think anything of it after that. And we got on set, and just caught up a bit. Said hello, and apparently there was a lot more going on in her mind than mine. And I think mostly that was because I was so focused on the project that I could see nothing else. And if I had seen anything else, I would have totally caught on, which is unlike me, because usually I'm very aware about this stuff. But she was like feeling a real renewal of connection, and then like that New Year's Eve night, we came home and just got to talking out in the car for a really long time, and and all. So 90-10. She was the 90, I was the 10. Not gonna lie. So we kind of reconnected there, and we were like, what is this? Is this a good idea? I don't know. Let's just talk about it for a while. So we kept talking for the next couple weeks and said, no, this is too great. We can't let this go. This is once in a lifetime, and we'd be dumb if we let this go to waste. So we tried the long distance thing, and worked out a lot better than we thought it was gonna, because we ended up married a couple of years later. Well, not even like a year later or something. It was real fast.
Yeah, it was less than a year.
It was a quick turnaround there, but we
not like crazy fast.
No, especially since we'd known each other for 5 years.
It wasn't like you just met on the set.
No, but it was
And that'll be 2 years ago that you married in this October, next month.
Yep.
Fantastic. So there you have it. Yeah. Friggin' Aliens. Bringing people together. So, if there's a special person in your life and you're not sure how to push that relationship to the next level, you'll want to see this movie.
Yeah, take them to the movie, and then 90-10. It works. I can say that from the opposite side of the equation than normally would be the case. It does work. So dudes, know that going forward. If you go 90 and you're feeling it, they'll go to 10. It's good.
Be confident, though.
Be confident at 90, but don't rush it. It's you don't want to. Let me just demonstrate that. You don't want to just do like one of those.
Because then it's scary, right?
Scary. You gotta go 90.
Yeah, it's all about the.
Actually, I think that was a part of the joke. The first thing we did with Todd and Alan.
Yes,
I think that was actually full circle.
We had a
subconscious.
We were trying to raise money to buy a big TV for our apartment in this script.
Yeah.
Our characters. And we were sitting at the dinner table trying to brainstorm, and you said something like, I've been thinking about the KISS method. Yeah. And so my character's like, okay, 90-10. I started leaning across the table, and you're just like, what are you doing? What I thought you wanted me to kiss you. Why would I want that? I don't know.
So funny. That was such a goofy script. That was written by Ben Rogers. Credit to Ben on
brilliant.
That piece of genius. It was so funny. I can't believe we came back around to that completely by accident.
Totally by accident. That whole 90-10 thing.
That's funny.
Wonder if does Ben have that movie up online?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I have it on the discs from LA, but
Ben's pretty particular about what he puts up online, so
I'll ask.
Yeah.
We'll see if he'll let us. We'll put a little link to it up here if he's got it. If not, sorry about your luck. But it was freaking hilarious.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I just think that's just kind of a fun story because, I think about it when I think of Aliens because it's kind of part of the backstory behind what happened. I think it's fantastic, and imagine if we had cast anybody else.
I know, right?
It might not have happened.
I would be a depressed, lonely bachelor. That would be true. That would be fact. I love you, Janelle.
And being a depressed, lonely bachelor sucks. I'm just kidding.
No. See, the difference is you're not depressed, nor you're alone, nor you're lonely. I, on the other hand, would have fallen into despair, unlike this strong man who has children.
Yes, I
so
do.
He
They're
can't
fantastic.
be lonely by definition.
There's no, yeah, that's so totally true. It's hard to be lonely. It's hard to be alone. Never mind
It's hard
lonely.
to be alone. Yeah.
But yeah, such a cool story. And it's fun too that I think Janelle was the only, well, other than our roles, I think was one of the only roles that we go, I think she's gonna be perfect for this. Mm-hmm. And we really could have stuck her anywhere, and she would have done phenomenally. But we didn't even need her to audition because we had done so much work with her in the past on stage and screen that we were just like, booyah. And then we had open auditions for people to play the other roles, and we're pleasantly surprised with the talent that we saw. And then when they showed up and just did such an amazing job, like you said, and not just they acted well, but they were prepared. They didn't treat it like a student film. They treated it like a professional set and were courteous and knew their lines and were between scenes. Actors, even young actors, between scenes, they're reading for the next bit they're gonna film. You're never done until the movie's over, So be a good actor. Don't make your directors wait on you. Because we could have spent dozens of takes if they weren't, prepared.
Yeah, especially with our style. It would
Yeah.
have been like the mockumentary style. You have to be on top of it, and if you're not hitting it, it's really slows down the process. But everyone hit it. They were on top of it the entire time.
It was tight. It was very tight. Trying to think. There's something else that popped in my head that I wanted to mention about it. About the project, other than how glorious it is. Well, we hit some post production hiccups, which is kind of why it's taken us as long as it has to be putting the finishing touches on it. We had some personal things in my life that kind of slowed the editing down because I was working on it on the editing end. We passed it off. We had pipes burst, lost the computer. Thank God our footage was saved.
Yeah, I can't. That was an act of God for sure.
Yeah.
You don't get a flood in a basement where a bunch of hard drive information is stored and usually come out on the right side of it. But
we were very fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which means that this movie is going to change the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've been plugging away at it over the last couple of years. In between it, we're ready. Super excited to let you see some stuff. Should we throw the clip in the middle, or should we just put a link to it?
Oh, I'll let you postmaster decide where you want to slide this thing in.
Jeez.
But it's
anywhere
it is, it's going to be great.
It is. Let's put it in, and then let's you set it up for us, and we'll go to it, and then we'll come back.
Sure. Yeah. So the beginning of the film. Wow, I don't even know how to set this up. I have no idea how to set this up.
No, this was actually a
post-production
shoot.
Yes.
That we did for
this was basically a it's not a reshoot. And what is it called? I'm totally blanking all of a sudden.
Are you thinking like second unit kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a second unit thing, but it was also oh man, I am so blanking on it. I cannot remember what it's called. There's some film term for it, but it doesn't really matter. At any rate, yeah, this was a late edition. We wanted to frame the whole thing in this sort of universe that makes it kind of knit together in a way. So a good friend of mine, Kit Leonard, was kind enough to play the role of our parody Unsolved Mysteries host and open the film and close the film for us. But yeah, this is the setup to the whole entire universe, basically.
And here you go.
I'm Gordon Rahm, and this is Mysterious Mysteries. In 2012, a small Kentucky town experienced a series of mysterious and chilling events which sent ripples of fear across the nation. Freak explosions in quiet residential neighborhoods, gun battles inside of private homes, a trail of bodies which vanished mysteriously overnight, all led the public to believe that a massive cover-up had taken place in this quiet suburban community. Ultimately, the local authorities were able to quell these rumors with their own version of events, claiming that a madman had been loosed in the town, killing himself and a number of others in a final showdown. However, our team has recently unearthed shocking video evidence that counters this official story. Watch with us now as we view and judge this evidence given to us by an anonymous source. Was it indeed a mass killing, or was it something else? Something alien. You decide as we watch another episode of Mysterious Mysteries.
Cool, that's awesome. He did such a good job with that.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Gordon Rahm. Like, he's just got the voice for it, and
yeah, he actually hated how he did on it. He kept asking me if
he's one of those actors.
Yeah, I could not. Like, I had to literally convince him. No, we have to stop. This is it. You're fine. You're fine.
Oh my goodness. Great, cool, man. So, is there anything else that stands out that you want to talk about, like the production or the that you think would be interesting to our alien files? Like, it's supposed to be like audio file, but like with an alien, but it just sounded like an actual file about aliens.
Totally missed that one.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have nothing else to say other than feature films are hard and
labor of love.
Yes,
for sure,
and a labor of love. And when you are not paying people up front and you are doing it all out of passion because that is the only choice you have, because that's how this industry works, it is even harder. The train spotting that Danny Boyle did all in apartments or something like that.
I think that's right.
I believe it was like same budget. He just went around to his friends' apartments and just shot it all, and that's how one of the great directors of our time got started. It's a similar situation that we have here. We are not Danny Boyle, no, nor are we whoever else has started that way. I think it's train spotting. I'm going to sound like a total idiot if it's not train spotting.
What if we did?
What if we were? But it is quite amazing to see something come together that you did just out of sheer passion and will and divine influence, because it's very much outside yourself. You have very little control over how it really turns out when you're collaborating in a film like this, and it's been a real experience that I wouldn't trade for anything, and it's also very rewarding and very educational, because we know exactly what not to do in the future
for the sequel
and what to do. Yeah, for the sequel.
Friggin' Aliens 2. The Legend of Alan's Gold. or Friggin Aliens 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
One of the two.
I'm working on a rough script for you.
Okay. All right. We could do it like 12 years after the fact, kind of like Independence Day, and aliens, just do a 12-year reboot or whatever.
Gotcha.
It's a sequel.
Yeah, so many good memories, so many good times, and I'm super excited. I think we've got this. I think Friggin Aliens, and I realize that I'm really close to the project, so it's very possible that I'm really biased. But you can take this to the bank. Just kidding. I think we've got a real special project. I think it's unique on the independent landscape, thematically, stylistically, and I think that every time I see new edits, the performances are strong. They're good, and I still laugh at the jokes, which either means I think we're funny, or they're still funny.
I hope it's the latter. You never really know. It's always a hold your breath moment when you screen something like that for the first time, and if you hear crickets, you just want to go kill yourself. But
yes. Oh my gosh! I remember I did a film when I was at Asbury called The Love Doctor. I don't know if it's up anywhere, but anyways, they played it at the Highbridge Film Festival, which is the Asbury University, student film festival thing, and we thought it was hilarious. This was prior to you and I think connecting and collaborating on The Rumbling.
Was it? I don't really remember a timeline on these movies. But...
Yeah, well, we did the Father's Day project where we went to North Carolina with my folks. Then we did The Rumbling, and that was where Derringer was born.
Gotcha.
But this was prior to that, and anyways, sitting there in Hughes Auditorium, when I was editing, I thought this stuff was funny. My family thought it was funny, but you see it on the big screen, and there's hundreds of people behind you, and you're like, oh, please, God, let them laugh. Let them laugh. And what a relief it is.
Oh, yeah.
It almost makes you giddy when you hear honest and hearty laughter behind you.
And you never, ever go into it feeling confident either. I noticed that even the last thing I did, and I think even I think I heard some pro, like Danny McBride or Jason Sudeikis or somebody saying this recently. I think it was Steve Carell, actually. You think that it's funny, but then you have no idea until you put it up in front of anybody, and you are genuinely scared for your life. It's almost on par with like life and death terror for a moment, for me anyway.
It's heart stopping. It really is.
It is. Like I did this silly little 1-minute film that was completely silent, and it was just whatever.
Great.
It was. I loved it, and I put it up there. I was like, I'm half positive people are going to think this is the dumbest thing they've ever seen in their life. And like I had this gut wrenching moment of, dear God, what am I doing here? What is life? Why am I doing this to myself? I shouldn't have done this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like this moment before it, like all that in like the space of 3 seconds before it actually comes on, and then like the first little giggle you hear, you're like, okay, it wasn't totally terrible, and then you hear a bigger laugh, and you're like, oh, okay, so this might not be so bad. And then if there's like a big crowd laugh, as there was in this last one, you're just like, oh, it happened. And then your world kind of gets rocked for a couple of days, and you get a big head, and you realize you're not that great.
Yeah. And for me, it seems like it's hard to prep for that too, because you're as you're working on it, you get the jokes and you're laughing. And then for me, like with Love Doctor, and I'm sure it'll be this way with Aliens too, that moment right before people outside of the circle that have worked on it get ready to see it, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
What if they don't think it's funny? I'm not going to be able to slink out of here unnoticed.
Yeah.
Comedy's hard, man. Comedy's hard.
It's hard. It's so much more scary than drama.
Yeah. You can tell if drama's working. Mm-hmm. Usually. But yeah, so labor of love, scary showing your work to people, and by the way, don't show rough cut stuff to people that don't know what a rough cut is.
Yes,
because they'll start giving
For
you.
the love
it's
of
so
God.
Stupid.
Do
people
not
are
do
dumb.
that.
If they don't know, it's not that they're dumb; they just don't know.
Yeah, they can't. You can't understand. you can't understand. It's really hard to even for people who do know what a rough cut is to shut that off in their mind.
That's true.
It's because I've been a producer on projects before, and I'll come in and I'll look at the movie for the rough cut, and I'm just like, ooh, that was so bad, and
that was rough.
It was real rough. And then you got to remember, no, this is a rough cut. This can be fixed. The things that you see there can be fixed. And that's the difference. Now, if you're seeing stuff where it's like, wow, I didn't buy a single word that person said, hard to fix that. But
that is true.
Yeah, don't show it to a person who doesn't know what a rough cut is.
So I think it's fair to say too that we're fortunate to have some friends that are really talented actors. Mm-hmm. And I refer to it as having people in your hip pocket, that you can call on, and they're gonna, like we talked about Janelle, but there's like 3 or 4 other people that I think we could call, and they would just knock it out, whatever role it was, and we wouldn't even have to worry about it. But if you don't have people like that, don't just cast your friends when you're working on even on your pet projects or your student projects. Take the time to do auditions. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, it takes some time to get it coordinated and to go through in a process. But man, your story is either enhanced or it's destroyed by the way in which it's presented. If you have a really good actor and a mediocre story, sometimes a good actor can help make that mediocre thing feel a little stronger than it is. But even a good story, the average person isn't looking at the elements, they're looking at the picture. And if you got somebody that's not delivering it in a convincing, believable way, the whole thing starts to fall flat, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yep. Gotta have good actors.
Yeah, so do casting sessions. It's always good. And
don't always cast the best looking person. That's important. That is a big problem, and I could go off on a 20-minute rant about how terrible it is in Hollywood right now, casting the good-looking person all the time over the talented people. I could really go off on that, but I'm going to hold myself back. Cast the better actor.
Yes. I had a project I worked on. My 2 producers, they actually said to me, no, I loved my producers. They were fantastic. And they have my back as a director. They were great. But at one point they did say, we were looking at these 2 actresses, and they both said, what do you think, Eric? I'm like, man, this girl's solid. I think she's got the look we need. She delivers it with this intensity. And they go, yeah. But don't you think the other one was hotter? I'm like, seriously? Yeah, and especially I think as a dude, and maybe women are like this too, the other way, but like as a dude, it's easy to gravitate towards the people that you find attractive. So you've got to turn that off in your head and go, who is? And by the way, I didn't even agree with them on that level. Like I was like, what are you guys seeing? I mean, not that she was unattractive, but beauty's all in the eye of the beholder anyway.
Yeah.
But don't just cast because somebody's hot. That's a sure way to shoot your film in the foot, I think.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, it's just made evident more and more by the cases of people you see in the media. Like Amy Schumer does not fit the stereotypical lead female that's gonna blow the socks off people. But like there are so many men who find her like just mind-blowingly attractive, and it's it's not only how pretty she is, but how her personality is. For some people, personality is like everything, and and it's Britain has it right. I can go off on more rants about this, but watch British films if you want to see good actors who aren't they don't fit the Hollywood mold, because they're just better actors. They cast the better actors, and people are like, why are British actors so much better? Might not really be the case. I can't say that definitively, but I can guarantee you that it does not help that Hollywood typically does not cast the better actor, they cast the better looking person. So, yeah.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
I called 2 people out today. I'm just kidding. Called them out. I was saying to somebody earlier, like, regardless of any opinion you have of like anybody in Hollywood, they're still making $1 bajillion.
Exactly.
You know, but I think that what's cool about what we're doing, not that we would object to making $1 bajillion, however many a bajillion is.
So it's a little bit less than $1 million.
Oh, well, that's okay then. I can still live with that. Which means you're clearly not rich. Otherwise, that wouldn't sound like very much. But man, you gotta love what you're doing, because it takes. You were talking about. We said labor of love, and we talked about it's hard work, but it's not as hard. It's a marathon. I had a Jeremy White on who directed Summer Snow, and he referred to it as a marathon, and it really, really is, because we shot in 2012.
Yeah.
And it's 2012 into 2013, because it was December and January. Yeah. And here we are in 2015. Well, it is a marathon, and it's pre-production usually is pretty easy, because not easy, but you're excited, and you get on set and you are stoked, and you got the stamina to get through that, and then that's where I think the longevity has to come in, and your stamina really has to come in, and where it feels like a marathon is. There's been times where I know it would be easier just to be like, oh my gosh, are we done with this movie yet? What is taking so long? But you keep plowing ahead, because A, you're passionate about it. B, you've got people that have invested financially into the film. You've got people that have invested countless hours of their life that they can't get back. So you owe them something, and you owe yourself, I think, the completion of the project. Even if Friggin Aliens doesn't sell, doesn't make us a bajillion dollars, it's still at the end of the day. At the end of the day, right? We'll still feel like we accomplished something.
Absolutely.
And you'll love it, because, like we said, it'll change your dating life, and and it's going to revolutionize the course of human history. That might have been a slight hyperbole.
Oh,
what do you think?
Slight. I think slight's an understatement, but it will change your life.
That's right.
If not only just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, a little bit change your life. It might make you choose salad over pizza the next day, but it will change your life in a small way.
Which is what I'm going to start doing.
It's a good thing.
As well, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Taking care of myself. Anyway, cool. Guys, this has been David Whitaker. I'm Eric Henninger. We are Friggin Aliens. No, we're not Friggin Aliens. It's a whole group of people. But we are the writers and directors. And I'm the host of this podcast. Super glad to have David in from LA to hang out with me today. It's been great. Oh, thanks, buddy. I love you. Oh, it's so good just to feel you close.
Feel that sandpaper.
It's glorious. All right. So I don't know who my guest is next week, because I didn't look at my notes. This has happened twice now in 12 weeks. But that's okay. It is what it is. It's going to be great. We're going to have a good time regardless. Like, subscribe, share, leave some comments below. Until next week, I am running out of voice to hear getting hoarse. Until next time, I am Eric Henninger, reminding you that life is too short to not pursue what you're passionate about. Go see Friggin' Aliens. And we're out.